Hi, welcome to the channel. I just skipped through Blade 3, Blade Trinity. Have you seen Blade 1 and Blade 2? Oh, congrats, you've also seen Blade 3, Blade Trinity. Ryan Reynolds is in this one. What do you need to know? So, you got Blade, he fights vampires, and the guys you see here, they're going to awake the original Dracula in order to stop Blade. And then Blade has a new team, and just like in the second one with the new team, they are for shit. They don't really do a whole lot. They get all taken out pretty quick, pretty easy. With the exception of Ryan Reynolds, who's there to be witty and charming, which is. But I wish I'd seen this 10 years ago, whenever it came out, because maybe that would have been more fresh. So you got Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds, and the problem is we've seen it before. Now again, I'm watching this in current year 2023. Is making it this video. This came out back in the day. I couldn't even so probably 10 years. And maybe if I'd never heard of Ryan Reynolds, I'd be like, oh, that's because instead it's his usual stick. I've seen Deadpool 1 and 2 and any number of different Ryan Reynolds movies. And my guess is they like let him ad lib on stuff. And he didn't really bring that much to the film. I've seen the guy that plays Dracula, I couldn't tell you his name. Um, Patton Oswalt is in this one briefly, hardly there. He's mostly there just because he's Patton Oswalt, I'm sure, but he doesn't do anything. So you get a new crew, and some new weapons. It's the exact same formula. So new super bad guy with this team here, the two people that survived this situation, plus the wrestler guy, Triple H or somebody. Uh, and it's tired. Just like the other two, you know it's going to happen before it happens. But it's going to be fine. They threw in like a real side story of FBI, and so the bad guys are taking a new approach. Instead of taking Blade head on, they try to do it. They work with a PR campaign, so it's commentary on Fox News, corruption in government. Although the FBI agent in this isn't corrupt, he's actually trying to do his job, so that's a nice twist. But they of course, in some way it makes sense because eventually, with the era of cameras all over the place, someone's going to see something, and all the two Blade movies, where all these people are getting laid to waste, and there's like people who saw it. They're like human beings, and Blade doesn't kill humans; it's his weakness, like Batman, very Batman-esque. So at least there's some logic in that. Finally, they used cameras to film Blade, and that went on social media. This came out, no doubt, towards the early years of social media, and that exposes Blade. Whistle actually gets killed. Good for your movie. No more plot armor for you, fella. But there just wasn't a whole lot here. They brought back Dracula, and it's the formula has its limitations. So, for the first chunk of the film, the rest of the world is involved to an extent. Again, it's now on the news. Blade's in the newspapers, and that's the logical place to go. But then that just kind of Dracula comes back, and that all just goes away. And then the feds are there a little bit, and then they're not, and then they show up again at the end of the film to tie that up. And there's really no consequences to any of it. Blade kills the bad guy, gets the girl, which is Whistler's daughter. And Ryan Reynolds pulls through because he's Ryan Reynolds. You can't kill Ryan Reynolds. But the problem is, that. If I had no clue who Ryan Reynolds was, I would still know his character is going to be safe. It all has that feel. You know who's going to get killed. You know the bad guys are all going to get their just desserts. And the good guys will be fine. Except for the secondary characters, they're fucked. So that's the inherent flaw in the Blade films, is that there's no mystery to anything, so there's no tension. So it's like, here comes Dracula. He's really been the whole time. You're like, some tertiary character will get caught by Blade, and he's like, "Tell me what's going on. Where's the bad guys?" And he's like, "You never beat him, Blade." Bah! And then Dracula's a big fart in a car. Like, they really didn't do anything with it. There was nothing fantastic here. It just kind of, here's, remember the Blade movies? Here's the first one. But we use mustard instead of ketchup on the hot dog that is this film. If that does anything for you. So it's a third film. When was the last time you saw the third film be a good one when it wasn't necessarily a trilogy? Like, they made the first one, kind of wrap that all up. It was successful, so okay, let's pump out another one. And now, like, that must have done well or something, or there's money to be made. We'll pump out this one. And if you saw the first two, you've also seen this. They really added nothing here. They tried to kind of by bringing back the original Dracula, but there was nothing new here. He's got a new crew, but that's what they did in the last one. They all get taken out except for like and that's learns all of them. So here, at least a couple people pull through, but again, very very plot armor. Ryan Reynolds, he's gonna be fine. So there's one scene where like Ryan Reynolds is like, "We're gonna lose. We can't defeat Dracula. We're gonna lose." And it's like, Ryan, did you see the first two? They'll find a way. You'll be fine. And he was. And then like they're beating the crap out of him, and trying to ad lib and tell funny jokes. And it's like, I've seen it. So that's the big flaw in Blade. I've seen it. I know it's going to happen before it happens. The moment they introduce character, I was kind of shocked. The one thing that kind of shocked me is they killed off Patton Oswalt. Not because of the development of the character, he was screwed. But it's like, hey, they actually killed off Patton. Wow, okay. And the black guy with him that hardly had any dialogue, and then they had the blind lady, and it's like, yeah, they're gonna be fine. There's certain characters you kill off, and certain characters you don't, and that's how they develop the character, and when they introduce them, really screwed. So, there's nothing to this film. If you've seen the first two, you've also seen this, and so if you like seeing Wesley Snipes really half-assing it, while he cuts through the bad guys, here's another one. He does that here too. But other than that, the third Blade movie, didn't care. I skipped through a lot of it. I'd seen clips of it online. I wasn't intrigued by it. If I wasn't reviewing it, I wouldn't have watched this. But I'm reviewing it, so I did. To the extent that I did, because I skipped around a lot. So, like for here, that's actually human and trying to pose him as a vampire, and then they film it and try to expose Blade to the rest of the world. But again, after that serves its function, it's gone. It never comes back in the rest of the movie. So, eh. So anyway, Blade 3, it exists. Cheers.